How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Everyone's having a lovely day. Bengals free agency. Do they know it's free agency? That's where we're going to start. I don't know if they got the notification. They may not have got it. They might be on like a 2-week vacation in Peru or something, because I think they think it's still the re-signing phase. We've really just seen the Bengals re-signing players. They've been re-signing players. I think they forgot Samaje Perine didn't play for him last season, because you throw him on there as well. Besides that, very, very small additions to the team, ones that won't be too impactful. Actually, I'll take it back. I hope they're impactful. You get the linebacker out of Philadelphia. You bring in TJ Slaton to stop the run. I think TJ Slaton is going to be a big piece. I think that's going to be, if they don't make any more moves, he is going to be that key piece. He's going to be that make or break free agency piece, because if he comes in and does what we expect, which is stop the run, we can see this defensive line substantially improve. They were struggling to stop the run last season. You stop the run, you allow Al Golden and company to dial up those blitz packages, dial up that man-to-man, get home, because you're stopping the run first and second down. That can be a big addition. We've seen how big a difference it made with or without DJ Reader when he was healthy and without him on this team last season. So getting a guy like that, I'm not calling him DJ Reader, but getting a guy of that kind of caliber to stop the run can make a difference. Big ad. The problem we have now with the Bengals, though, is looks like we still want, they're still content with a lot of other positions. It doesn't look like they would add depth on that defensive line. Sure, BJ Hill and Slaton can be your guys, but who's your backup? Did we not learn anything last season when guys get injured? Offensive line, you're still short 2 guards. Do I think either one of those guys, Ford or Volson, are starting guards? No. Do I think Ford provides very good quality depth for this team if somebody gets injured? Absolutely. You need that. But if Ford gets injured, or if 2 offensive linemen get injured, look how ugly it gets really quick. Especially if it's your tackles. Forget about the guard position. What happens when one of your tackles go down? And you now have to move Ford out there, and now you're starting Volson, and now you're starting who knows what at the other position. Again, you can draft and we'll see what happens. You can't draft every position. I think that's the problem the Bengals got to run into here. They need to draft 2 guards. They need to draft an edge rusher. They could draft a safety. They could draft the nickel. We'll see what that. I better stop myself right there. Now I'm getting a little carried away. They do need to draft the linebacker. Probably. Just looking into the future. We're not just saying this year, but just looking years into the future. They're going to need a center, and they might. The cap is getting old. They might keep him long term, but they have a lot of holes to fill, and they need above average in a lot of those areas, specifically pass rusher. You're not going to get you're going to have a hard time finding an edge rusher in the 2nd or 3rd round that's an elite pass rusher. They could, but it's a lot more difficult, which means you're looking for a guard in the 2nd or 3rd round, and you need 2 of them. You can't miss on the guards, which means you're rolling the dice. You got to pick up one. I think if this free agency ends and you do not pick up a quality above average to average guard in free agency, you are getting an F for me from free agency. There's still time. We've seen the Bengals kind of push it out before. We just said it the other day. It's like, hey, be careful. Bengals signed Orlando Brown Jr. on Friday. The tampering window opens Monday. You can officially sign guys on Wednesday. Orlando Brown Jr. came in on Friday. So it was essentially, 5 days later from when free agency, quote unquote, began with the tampering phase, when it was OBJ's time to get that contract. Obviously not this season. He's already on a team. They do take time. We've seen that happen in the Bengals. Historically, they're a team that likes to kind of watch the waves kind of come in, calm down a little bit, and then they come in, scoop their guys up later in free agency. I'm not saying that's the best strategy, because you don't want to get caught with your pants down and get nobody. But that is historically what they've done. So we got to be patient there. But right now, I need more. I do really like the Slaton ad. I love plucking a linebacker off the Eagles that played very well in the postseason. Thing is, he's been a career backup, but he played very well in the postseason. He's had some good coaches taking him under his wing these last couple of seasons. Philadelphia, San Francisco. Does he have the opportunity to come up and start and make an impact? We'll see. Regardless, you still want some depth at that position. If they can find somebody else, fantastic. Time will tell. I think the one thing, and this is what's very difficult, we don't know what the Al Golden effect is going to be. We know this defense was bad. But what's the Al Golden effect? How much can he transform this defense? How much is Al Golden looking at this team and saying, hey, I don't want to draft this position. I believe in this guy's talent to be a starter. How much are the Bengals saying, hey, we don't want to draft this position too high in a draft, because the last thing you want to do is bury that guy for a year. Which is why I go back to the guard position. You're not burying anybody at guard. There's no excuse. You have 2 guard positions open right now. You sign one right now, and the other one can be a competition for your draft pick and or the guys on the roster. Every other position, besides edge, I mean, you could say edge as well, I guess. Every other position, you kind of look and say, hey, I can see why you don't want to bury him. The difficult thing about having, you want to take a defensive tackle in the first round. I would love that. I would love a defensive tackle that goes good pass rusher, good against the run. They're disruptors. Look at the Super Bowl winning teams lately. Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, these guys coming up the middle, getting into the quarterback's face, make life so difficult. They're game records. They're game changers. Having those guys on your team is important. But obviously, for the Bengals, if you don't draft that and you got a guy in the second round, you're like, oh, we ain't going to start on day 1. The last thing you want to do is draft these guys, have them sit on the bench, which is bend the Bengals' way. Have them sit on the bench for years. Because, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you're trying to sign your big 3. You need 4 to 5 very good years. Or at least starting years out of your draft picks, because that's when they're cheapest. Waiting a year to say, all right, now let's start them. I feel like it kills, especially non-quarterbacks. It tends to kill their development. It hasn't worked historically for the Bengals. You got to get those guys that can come in. So I can see where they're a little patient on free agency if that is the perspective they're taking. Because you don't want to pay edge position, prime example. You don't want to pay a guy $15-20 million a year. And now all of a sudden, that there's no chance that guy you're signing starting. There's no chance he's going to be in that third down pass rush role because you just paid this guy to do it. Now, of course, you can rotate 4 in and 4 out, which is also a great thing to do if the Bengals go that way. But do we know if that's the Al Golden scheme that he wants to do? A lot of question marks. Right now, we're Friday. If it was Thursday, I'd be telling you you get a C-, Cincinnati. We're going to stick with that. They have added, again, Perine's a solid addition. Re-signing some of these guys to a relatively... I thought Gesicki was one of the better contracts. Getting that tight end locked down long-term, seeing how much Uzama got a couple years ago, who's not near as talented as far as being a pass-catching tight end as Gesicki is. I thought that was a good addition. But it really wasn't an addition because we was already at that point. Slaton's the real needle mover here of the guys in free agency. A lot of potential in the rest. Hope for the best for the rest. You're getting a D. You're getting a D, Cincinnati. You're getting a D. We're gonna be patient. You got a little bit of room. You got about 2 days before you get that F. You're gonna get a D. Love y'all's thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.